Welcome back to another episode of Comedy's Dead. I'm Saundra, I'm your host, and it's a comedy podcast, okay? So I'm probably going to offend at least half of you. I'm sorry. I don't have time to worry about your feelings and what might hurt them, okay? Because I am trying to keep up with all these executive orders that Donald Trump is signing. It's too much. I'm overwhelmed, okay? I mean, first, we were going to have tariffs, and now no tariffs. And then we were going to buy Greenland, and now we're going to buy Gaza. I mean, I don't know. I can't keep up, okay? But if you want my opinion, I think Gaza is a much better purchase than Greenland. I mean, nothing against the Eskimos, but it's cold. I don't really even cold. Okay, I mean, Gaza has amazing beaches. At least they did until Israel blew them up. But if you dig under all the rubble, the beaches are pristine. At least that's what I hear. And did you know they have a surf club? Like an awesome surf club. I mean, it's only for men and boys. I mean, women can't surf. So, I mean, maybe if Trump buys Gaza, then Palestinian girls can learn how to surf. Yeah, I mean, then they'd be free from the river to the sea. Okay? So, hang 10, liberals. Hang 10. And I told you I was probably going to offend half of you. Okay? I don't know what you want from me. Okay? I just hope Trump puts a hotel and casino on the Temple Mount. Yes, I do. Then maybe everyone could take it as a sign from God to stop being assholes to each other. And Easter would be lit. Oh, Easter would be so much fun. Yes. And I just hope, I wonder if I can get Grok to make a AI Trump hotel and casino on the Temple Mount. I mean, I could do it in Photoshop. It's just, I'm busy. I mean, I'm a one-woman show. Okay? I'm the writer, director, producer, everything. So I don't have time to mess around in Photoshop. Okay? So anyways, if there's a picture here and it looks weird, blame it on Elon Musk, okay? Anyways, moving on. We have to talk about this USAID freeze because everybody is losing their minds over the foreign aid freeze, okay? So USAID, it doesn't even stand for aid, okay? It is United States Agency of International Development, okay? It was founded and created under John F. Kennedy. That's when Congress they approved it and signed it, and it became a department. It was kind of an extenuation of the Marshall Plan, which was our funding of cleaning up Europe after World War II. So we've always done this. It's nothing like new. I mean, it's not really aid. We're really countering the influence of Russia. Okay, it's just under JFK and up until Clinton is when the Soviet Union fell, I do believe. So I don't know, sometime in the 90s, okay? So it used to be the Soviet Union and now it's Russia. So yes, we are countering Russian influence, and strategically valuable places around the world. Like Ukraine and Afghanistan and Africa. And China's in Africa now doing their Belt and Road, which is kind of the same thing we do, only we don't build infrastructure. We just give them money and pay their fighters. So now we're trying to counter China influence. So that's all it is, guys. I don't know. And I mean, critics of this program say that it is wasteful and it promotes a liberal agenda, like giving abortions to HIV-positive prostitutes and drug users in Africa. Oh yeah, the liberals tried to do that, and the Republicans were like, hell no abortions. Because abortions in Africa mean less proxy fighters. And what would Jesus do? So the Democrats and the Republicans, they came together on a bipartisan agreement and agreed that Jesus would give Africans free HIV antivirals forever and ever and ever and ever. because they want happy, healthy proxy fighters, which is great for pharmaceutical companies. Oh, yeah, guys. Oh, yes. Okay. So PEPFAR, that's the big controversy right now. Okay. It was created under George W. Bush in 2003 to help combat the AIDS epidemic in sub-Saharan Africa. Great. Golf clap. Good for you, George. Okay. But so they have given Africa $110 billion since its creation. And in spite of all that money and all that education and all that funding and all that aid, in 2003, there were still 1.3 million new HIV cases. And this is where it gets crazy. This will blow your mind, folks. Okay? In spite of all that, 77% of those 103 million cases were adolescent girls aged 14 to 19. And I'll do the math for it. That averages out to over 3,100 girls a week. Oh, yeah, it's a big problem. Because, see, now we have to fund all that HIV antivirals forever and ever and ever. Because Russia and China won't do it. So that's on us, folks. Oh, yeah. Okay? And now we're trying to study. We spend all this money on studies trying to figure out why 77% of the 1.3 million new cases are teenage girls. Like they can't figure it out. You know, it's like, oh, it's gender inequality, it's poverty, it's a conflict zone, it's war. Maybe, yeah. And broke boys don't deserve no pussy. They don't. Broke boys don't deserve no pussy, okay? And yes, they get Cardi B, the south of the Sahel. Yes, they do. Okay, Starlink. Thank you, Elon. Thank you. They do. They get Cardi B. Okay, and listen. Since America is so good at funding global security around the globe by funding militaries and militias where we have resources that we want to protect. These militaries and militias, these African militaries, where there really is no economy because it's a conflict zone, now they have money to spend. And what do they spend it on? Hookers and blow. Yes, that's a fact, folks. They are just like our military, only they have HIV. Yes, that's another fact. Did you actually think that PEPFAR, created by George W. Bush in 2003, what was to combat the AIDS epidemic in sub-Saharan Africa? Not really. No. Guys, it was created to help stop the spread and allow African soldiers in the military in several different countries to live. Yes, okay? Because, get this, guys. In 2003, the HIV infection rate for military members in the army in Africa was between 60 and 90%. Yeah, it was actually a higher percentage. The infection rate was higher for the military than it was for the countries and nations that these soldiers protected. Okay? So, and if you don't believe me, I'll put some whatever. I don't know what I'm doing over here, okay? But you'll see some stuff. But no, and if you don't believe me, these studies, I got it from PubMed, so that's peer-reviewed college. Also the Wilson Center, the NIH, the United Institute for Peace, and also the UNAID Foundation. Okay, so yes, and these studies go back to 2000. Okay, even up to 2008. Okay, the leading cause of the Congolese army was AIDS. Yes. Okay, so when you hear Bill Gates go on TV and go on YouTube and talk about how, the infection rate is down 60%, and some statistics you'll hear it's down 80%. Well, yeah, because 2008, the infection rate for the military was 60 to 90%. Okay? So that's what we've been doing, is we've been saving the lives of these armies and militias so they could fight. Okay? And yeah, guys, that is, yes. So if you want to know why the Pentagon cannot pass an audit, Discovery for PrEP. Oh yeah, Discovery for PrEP. Yeah, that's what we're doing. They get the antivirals and they get the Discovery for PrEP. But it doesn't work because now they, these soldiers, they have money, but they're still on antivirals. Okay, it wasn't like this infection rate just suddenly changed, because let's pay attention to the facts. Go read the articles yourselves. Like I said, I'm a one-woman show. Okay, I don't always have time to mess with the Photoshop stuff, because then my stuff would never get out. Okay, but I am gonna put some stuff so you can show that I did go through and read these articles. Okay, so remember, the military rate had a much higher rate than the countries that they served, which means, a lot of anal. A lot of anal was why, the infection rate was so high. I mean, what else would it be? Okay? So anyways, that's what's been going on. And now they can't figure out why 77% of girls, adolescents, are the highest, 77% of the 1.3 million new cases in sub-Saharan Africa. They can't figure it out. It's because the soldiers have money and they can pay for it and they can buy it, and there's no economy. There's nothing going on. There's nothing to do. So they pay the girls for sex. That's what's going on. And because they're on antivirals, that's never, yes, it works, but not at scale. Something like that is never going to work at scale, especially when it's the epicenter of the HIV epidemic, the AIDS epidemic, okay? And it's also the terror epidemic. Yes, who would have thought? Who would have thought that the new terror epicenter of the world is also the AIDS epicenter of the world? It's crazy how that worked out, right? So the terror groups that they have there, they have Boko Haram, they have Al-Shabaab, and they have a bunch of local nationalized different militias that may not be affiliated with Islamists, but they're still pissed off and they still fight, and they fight whoever. And then you still have Al-Qaeda funding, the Al-Shabaab, and also some of these independent gig terrorists. It's a gig economy too, okay? And then you get ISIS. And ISIS is there. So, but there's no studies on if all these terror organizations, if any of them are infected with HIV. I mean, common sense would say that they have the same rate as the soldiers in the militaries, right? That's what I would think. There's only one way to find out, folks. There's only one way to find out. Because if they do have the HIV, the same like the other militaries, then they're definitely getting the antivirals, which means they're spreading it too, okay? Let's cut the shit. Yes, the antivirals work, and if you have a low viral load, then you can't spread it. But no one's pricking their finger and checking their viral lobe or load, whatever, before they have sex. They don't care. I mean, no. I mean, they might do some anal for safer sex so they don't get pregnant. But I mean, that's about it, folks. Okay. So if the terrorist groups do have the same infection rate as the military, then that means they are definitely getting the American paid, taxpayer funded antivirals. But we don't know. So now the only way to find out is, cut the aid. And I know that's horrible. Okay, and yes, I know probably a lot of people could potentially die, millions. But sub-Saharan Africa is overpopulated by millions of people. Yes, they can't. The only way out of this mess is to grow their economy. And they can't grow their economy because there's too many people. there's not enough jobs, okay? So there's too many people that don't have jobs, and so they just join militias, or they fight, or they do crime, or they steal, okay? And the biggest sector of their economy is agriculture. And global warming is kind of destroying that. So currently, right now, you have the farmers who are predominantly Christian, and then you have the herders, the cattle herders, who are predominantly Muslim. They're fighting because there's not enough land. There's not enough land to grow the crops and to feed the animals. So they're constantly in conflict and fighting. And they hire like outside militias to go, attack the other. And this keeps happening. So and then the other source of income is resources, like cobalt and I don't know, whatever else they get in Africa. There's a bunch of mines in the Congo, So that's what's going. It's the craziest thing. I mean, imagine that. It is so. I don't see how we get out of this one, do we? I mean, what? It's who's messed this? How did this happen? I want to know how this happened. Okay, and I'm a little pissed because you know what I was doing in 2003. Oh yeah, after NAFTA went through and all the jobs in my area of existing, they just were gone, poof, gone. Within 3 years, they were all gone. So I had to go to college. Only I was broke and I didn't have any family. I was on my own. So you know how I had to supplement my income so I could go to school? I had to go to a strip club and grind on cock. While we were sending billions and billions of dollars to the militaries in Africa so they could live with HIV and fight for our interest, whatever that means. Okay, so I'm done. Okay, didn't Chris Rock had a joke about this, didn't he? That they'll just come up with a way for you to live with the disease. He was right about that. He was wrong about the strippers because I was a smart stripper. Okay, so I draw the line. The buck stops here, folks. Okay, because I'm a single mom. I need aid. I need help. I have a kid, and I'm trying to keep her off of the pole. Okay, and she's driving me nuts. Okay, she wanted her nose pierced, belly button, all this stuff, and at some point you have to say no. I mean, she wants chunky highlights. I draw the line at chunky highlights. No, I mean it's chunky highlights, and the next thing she'll be doing is twirling around on a stripper pole. So, anyways, that's been Comedy's Dead. Like, follow, subscribe, and I'll be back with another video shortly.